Welcome everyone to the last stream of AwSHUX for Lands of Galzyr. I'm Sami Laakso from Snowdale Design. I hope to have a wonderful time with you today as we're going to demo Lands of Galzyr. So I'm going to both teach the game and then we can together play through it one full game. All the viewers will be able to make decisions along the way, so I hope we have a great time together. For those who do not know anything about the game, Lands of Galzyr is an open world adventuring game where you are going to take a role of an adventurer, journeying through, well, as the name says, Lands of Galzyr, and having all sorts of crazy and fun adventures and making quests, visiting interesting places and such. So without further ado, let's get ahead and go into the table, and I will start by teaching the game to you, and then we can quite soon start playing. So here we have our own adventure board, we have the game board all set up. The game supports 1 to 4 players, and we are going to play a solo game in this today's demo. And for that we have chosen that we are going to play with Bumir, the marble polecat, for this game. But I have the other adventures here just so you can see that what the game comes with. So I'll move those aside, as we're not going to use the other adventures in this game. Same for their meeples. So game comes with four adventures, and they all have their unique adventure meeples. But we're going to use Bumir in this demo, so I'll remove the rest. On the game board we have various named locations. Usually we would get to pick where we start, but in this demo, when we use an adventure for the first time, our own starting quest will tell where we will begin. And that's something unique in Lands of Galzyr, that it's kind of a campaign game, but kind of not, because you're going to be able to save the game between sessions by storing cards in various different positions here with these dividers. We call it save slots. So each adventure will save their progress behind their own divider, and the status of the game world will also be saved between sessions. And yep, so the game will always continue where the previous one was left off, and as you play, the world will progress, and your own adventure will progress through its own story and its own journey. And no matter who plays, it's really easy to get on the table, because your own adventure will wait for it until you can play more. Let's see what we do need to know before we can start playing. Not much. So let's see what we have in our own save slot. If you play with an adventure which has been played earlier, you will have plenty of cards in your own save slot. But because we are using Bumir for the first time here, he only has 2 cards in his save slot. The yellow one, this one, is called Adventure Status, and it's our own special ability. Bumir has Unyielding Spirit, and we'll get back to that later when we do some skill checks. And the other one is this purple one, which I already mentioned shortly before. It's Bumir's own beginning quest. Cards have always their card type here at the top left, so this purple ink feather and ink bottle is a quest card, also shown on the back of the card. Buried Secrets Part 1. Following a map, you come to Galzyr in search of a treasure. Business as usual, but what secrets could your homeland possibly offer? And here we see that during setup, we are asked to place our figure on this card, and we cannot abandon this quest. So that's already where we should begin our game. And then we have this bottom part here which says start your adventure and number 84. We'll learn about that in just a moment. Those are called story scenes, and we'll do just a few things before continuing to that part. So let's put our adventure figure there. This here is our prestige token. It will show how much prestige we currently have, and we'll use the track here to mark our first prestige is 0. So that's the goal of the game, is to get as much prestige as we can. And depending if we want to play cooperatively or competitively, the game supports both. We use one of these cards, and we can choose before each game which mode we want to play. Obviously, with one player we can't play competitively, so we're forced to use the card on the left called Harmony. And the only difference between the game modes is what triggers the end of the game. So if you're playing cooperatively or solo, using the Harmony card on the left, we're going to play a certain number of rounds. If we are playing competitively, we play until one player reaches the prestige goal specified by the number of players. And that's shown here on the prestige track. So with 4 players, it's 6 prestige, 3 players 7, 2 players 8. But we can ignore those icons as we are playing now a solo game. And we're going to use this card here. And here we can see that in a solo game we're going to play 8 rounds. How do we keep track of those? We have a calendar down here, and to use said calendar, we have to first randomize our starting day. And to do that, we are going to use the digital storybook that you can use on any device with an online browser. So I have here set up it on an iPad, but you can use your mobile phone, a computer, basically any device that has an online browser, and you can also install it for offline use. So your device does not have to be connected to the internet in order to play the game. You just have to be connected when you first install, and then during the game you don't need, or even launching it, you don't need internet access. So here I have set it on an iPad, and you can see here I have it installed right here on my home screen, and I can open it even without internet access. So let's start a new game, and then the book will ask which month we are playing, and that is shown here on one of these cards. So we have this, these are blue back on these ones with the globe icon. These are called global status cards, and one of them always shows which month we are playing. So currently we are playing January, and it asks us to use the winter side of both the game board and the location cards. So the game board and the location cards here on it are double-sided. So one side is a summer side and one side is a winter side. So we are now using the winter side. Each game is a single month, so after you have played multiple games, at some point it will ask you to use the different side of all of those. So we can here now pick December, January. Yep. So let's do that. And now it randomizes our starting day to be Saturday, and we can mark it on the game board as well with this day token. Saturday, like that. And now we can come back to this Harmony card. First I can return this Discord one back to the global save slot, so basically back to the game box. It's not used in this game. And here we have the timer, which is this circle here. It has an X, and at the bottom we can see that X equals to 8 with 1 player. So I'll take 2 timer tokens, which are these circle cardboard tokens. Doesn't matter which ones I took, just as I took 2 identical ones. So going to put one 8 days into the future. So week is 7, and that's 8 right there, and cover the X like that. So now we know that when the day token, each round in the game is a single day. So when the day token reaches the timer token down here, we know to resolve whatever is in this timer box, and that basically ends the game in this case. So that should be pretty much everything we need to do in order to begin, and I will explain all the rules as we go along. So now it's our first turn, and on your turn we may first move, but because we are not on the game board, we are here on the on our quest card. We have not yet arrived to Galzyr. We can't travel, so we are going to immediately to our story phase, as our turn is consisted first in travel phase and then the story phase. During the story phase we have to start a single story, and they are these 4 digit numbers you can see here on the list, and we need to get choose one 4 digit number, and for that we have our starting quest here, and it has this lightning bolt and start your adventure story scene 84. We are forced, if we have one story scene with this lightning bolt icon, we are forced to take that story scene on our turn. So let's go ahead and start our adventure by taking the scene 84. We can either find it here from the list, or we can input it into this search box to go there immediately, like that. After a long trek, your objective finally looms in the horizon. The crumbled walls of a town ravaged by war, said to contain as many secrets lost to history as it does mortal dangers. Mostly legends, you'd wager. You know how these things go. You've explored dozens of similar structures over your many years of adventuring, although never around these parts. If there's anything to be found, you'll find it. You pick up your pace, itching to see what lies hidden in the tunnels below the ruined town, AwSHUX. We have a single option. We can head inside the ruined town. As you walk, you take in the sights. You left home at a young age, having been on the road since, searching adventure wherever, never stopping in one place for long. This is the first time you've been back to Galzyr in years. In fact, you've actively avoided the place. However, when the gambler insisted there's an ocelot treasure hidden below AwSHUX, you were skeptical, but couldn't resist. You ventured out for less after all. As you approach the walls, to your surprise, a strange, uneasy feeling you've had lately feels stronger than before, but you brush it out of your mind. Whatever challenges this place has for you, you'll persevere, for you come prepared. Then we have some effect texts. First we are asked to move our adventurer figure to AwSHUX. So let's do that. AwSHUX is here as marked on the game board. And we are asked to take a random 100 and a random 200 from the library and giving them to the adventurer, so in this case us. And for that I'll show you this. This is the so-called library, and this is my cat as well, coming here to interrupt our game, but that's fine because everyone loves cats, doesn't they? Or don't they? And everyone likes cat streams, so let's have a short cat stream, shall we? He's probably going to come and sleep on my lap at some point. But currently he wants just some attention, as always. So I was in the middle of explaining the library. So it has cards divided with these separators. You can see sticking out. So in the first block we have cards from 0 to 49, then 50 to 99, etc. And it's quite fast to find the correct card by shifting through it. So because the card number is always visible, let's see. Card numbers are here on the top right of the card. So when you shift through like this, you can find the correct ones quite fast. And now we're asked to take a random 100. Let's pick one, like so. And another 200. So let's see what we got. Both of these are what called item cards, identified by the back of them with the backpack icon. So the random 100 we got is a fashionable tunic. On the top left you can see the value of the item is 6, so it's quite valuable. And then on below the illustration you can see words fancy and warm, so those are what we call tags, and they can give us various bonuses during story scenes. Well-made clothing protects from small scratches in addition to catching folks' eyes. And if we would receive a wounded status, we get to roll the 12-sided die and might return the wounded back to the library, so this can protect us from harm. And if we climb or convince, we get to reroll up to 3 dice in skill checks. We'll get to those a little bit later. Welcome to the stream, Michael. Welcome back, Sami and Kat. Happy to see another character played today. Nice to have you here. And here's the random 200 we got. A toolbox, also valued 6, with tags blade and tinkering. Having the right tools for the job increases the odds of success. Higher number of tools equals to higher odds. So if we ever unlock or force, we can reroll up to 3 dice. Alright, let's put them to our inventory. So below our adventure board we have 3 spots for items. So let's move those down and we have room for our inventory. So we have still room for one additional item. Welcome to stream, Mr. Scrunchan. Nice to see you here again. And that's the intro, so let's continue. You find an entrance to the tunnels easily enough, pushing the accumulated dirt aside and smile at the invigorating aroma of stale air hits you. It's the familiar smell only old ruins like these have. It makes you feel at home. Or so you think. You don't exactly know what that's like. Anyway, the map you got stops there. Although calling it a map is a bit generous. It's poorly drawn, smeared and utterly unreliable, just the way you like it. You'd have to rely on your own wits from now on. However, there is a scribble to the side showing a symbol of some kind carved on a wall. It could be an ocelot face, but you cannot be sure. Perhaps you should try that. We have 2 options now. We can either explore the ruins, which is a medium survival skill check, or we can search for more markings, which is an easy perception. Let's quickly get one of the adventure boards back that might get dropped. So now we get to explain the skill checks. In the game there's six different skill checks. Or 6 different types of skill checks, and they are shown here on our adventure board. Well, we have the gold dial we can use to mark how much gold we are carrying at any given moment. So we begin with 10. Then we have this skill circle here, on the right, and that shows the 6 different skills there are in the game. So from the top going clockwise, we have Thievery, which is the pink or purple. We have Might, the orange one. Yellow is Survival. Green is Knowledge. Light blue is Communication, and the dark purple is Perception. So we can see that Bumir is not that strong with mental abilities, but rather good at survival and outdoor things. And these plastic pegs show how good we are in different things, and they will give us access to these various dice. So in this case we have 2 options. We can either explore, which would be this yellow survival skill, or we can search for more markings, which is this dark purple, this perception skill over there. And how the skill checks work is that we first take these 5 base skill dice, which have a single success for all the different skills in the game. So not quite high odds to get a lot of successes with just these. But after choosing what we are trying to do, we can swap out those base skill dice for this advanced skill dice, depending on what we have access marked with our skill marks on our adventure board. So, let's take an example that we would like to explore the ruins. We would get to swap out 2 yellow ones because we have 2 yellow skill marks, and both of these have 2 double successes for their own skill. Like this has 2 tenths, so we could swap out 2 of those, and we could also swap out 1 orange, because in addition to having 2 sword icons as its might skill die, it also has 2 single ones for both the skills that it's adjacent to. So because the might is counterclockwise adjacent to survival, it has 2 survival icons, and it also has 2 thievery icons, because as you can see, might is also next to thievery, which is right there at the top. So these would be our dice for exploring, removing that one as well. And as for searching, we would have to use just this single thievery die along with 4 base skill dice, and it would have two perception icons, 2 eye icons. But what's still left is the difficulties, which is written on the bubble. So we can see that search is easy and explore is medium. So the game has 3 different difficulties: easy, medium, and hard. And the minimum number of successes we would always want to get is 1, 2, and 3 respectively, depending on if it's easy, medium, or hard. So while we have better dice for exploring, it's a little bit harder than searching in this case. And then we can check if we have any of our items. Our items, unfortunately, do not help us in exploring or searching. I'll show them a little bit more when we get the chance to use them. But I will show our own special ability, Unyielding Spirit. Bumir's legendary resilience has inspired not only many Polecat Cups, but even some story writers. Most of those fables have more truth to them than one might first think. And in might and survival skill checks, we may discard this special ability to reset the skill check and perform it again. And we also get 1 success for the check. So we might kind of have a second chance if we are failing in might or survival skill check. And in this case, we could use our special ability if we chose to explore and were going to fail at that. And Scrum was suggesting to explore, so let's go ahead and do that. So whenever you see on the screen or on the stream, well, both are true, multiple options, like now you see explore and search, even before I have read the story and getting to the options, you can already write in the chat which of the options you would like to pick, and or there can be multiple of them. So usually I'll just pick the first that anyone has said in the chat. So we're going to explore, and now it has a button, reveal outcomes, but before we can click that, we have to resolve the skill check. Michael agrees to explore. Alright, so these are our explore dice. So to start resolving a skill check, we first roll all our dice. We see how many successes we would be getting. Currently we are sitting at 2 successes from that die, and then we have always the option to reroll all our dice a single time. But if we do, it's all or nothing. So if we now take the reroll, we have to reroll also these 2 survival successes that we already got. And we know from the difficulty medium that we would now not be failing. There's always even better outcomes, but we know that we wouldn't fail if we stopped right now. And I've been known to be quite bad at dice rolling in some of these streams, so don't trust too much on my luck. And if you don't mind, maybe we're happy with just 2, even though we do have quite nice dice and it wouldn't be too hard to get more, but I wouldn't want us to go and waste our special ability in the very first skill check by failing. So maybe we're happy with just 2 and see what happens. So revealing the outcomes, we have now multiple different buttons for different outcomes, and we pick the first that matches our current roll. So we did not get 0 to 1, we got 2 to 3, so we're going to check that. With routine ease, you traverse the tunnels, avoid the obvious pitfalls, and keep careful track of your progress. After traveling for a while, you come to 2 important conclusions. You're not alone down here, and whoever it is nearby. You can smell it. Rounding another corner, you find yourself in a living space of sorts, generously speaking. There's piles of rags and wild half-eaten things scattered around. Sunfolk here? A gravely voiced calls from the back, and shortly after a rat emerges, clothed in soiled, tattered robes and watching you carefully. Here, shiny looking, he continues, nodding to himself. Found this? Each take to Boxstone, and then Sunfolk leave. That sounds like an intriguing offer to you. The rat takes you to another room where you find a locked heavy stone chest. Perhaps you wouldn't have to return to surface empty-handed after all. When you turn back from your initial investigation, the rat is already gone. You shrug and get to work, reminding yourself to be careful. From experience, things like these might be booby-trapped. Mr. Scrunson said, smelled it. Alright, now we can either unlock the chest or we can force the chest open. Medium thievery skill check or medium might skill check. And here our toolbox actually helps us. And as you can see, it has an effect, unlock and force, reroll up to 3 dice. And in this case, you can see that it's unlock the chest or force the chest open, and well, our toolbox will help us no matter which option we pick. Toolbox gives the same bonus for both of them. So what do you say? Should we unlock the chest or force the chest open? We have a little bit better dice for forcing, because forcing would be this orange one, so we would get to use our survival skill dice as well. But if we unlock, we don't. We only get one die here, one orange. But basically, forcing lets us use all our 4 skill marks. Michael said unlock with toolbox, but he might not have realized that we can also force with our toolbox if we want. So our toolbox will help us no matter which skill check we pick. So we might be using that as well if we, or well, we are always using our thievery die, we're always using our might die, we're always using one base die, just if we use the yellow ones with just the yellow ones, or one yellow or two black, yeah, depending. Yeah, my Mrs. Grandson says force uses our superior strength, and Michael said I did not realize who helps it forcing it open. All right, so let's use those, and we are going to force the chest open. And we would like to get at least 2 successes, and the toolbox lets us reroll up to 3 dice. We can use the abilities of our cards at any point during the skill check. Why didn't we unlock? Because now we got 3 for that, and only one sword. So now it's the decision if we want to reroll 3 with the toolbox, probably these 3 here, or if we want to first reroll everything and then reroll 3. I'd say that we might want to reroll first everything, because we did get 1, but I think we should we could get more by first rerolling everything. Scrown is agreeing. Let's first reroll everything. And that's first. That's not nothing. So let's then use the toolbox. Doesn't matter if we reroll yellow or purple. They have the same number of successes for might. So I would like to get 2 from these, please. Ooh, that was close, but we did get 2. And we could use our special ability to reroll everything and get reset this, basically reset the skill check and get 1 success to begin with, but we probably want to save that for for when we are actually failing. Saying I weren't kidding with my rolls. Yeah, let's be happy with 2. We could have gotten 4 quite easily, but well, we didn't. At least we're not failing. With a mighty heave, you finally crack the lid open and narrowly dodge as some ancient mechanism strikes at you before falling apart completely. Pushing it aside, you peer inside and see that the contents are mostly decayed junk, save for one thing, a peculiar stone pendant, strangely familiar. There's a mountain peak depicted on its face, with the rising sun behind it. Turning it over in your hands, an uneasy sensation creeps up with your spine again. You think you've seen it before, a long time ago. But how could that be? You fight back a sense of dread thinking about your next step, but you have no other options. If you want answers, Rainstorm awaits, and there something much more dangerous than this. And for those interested, the description of the pendant somewhat matches our starting player token, so that's just a fun little Easter egg for those interested. But we really don't need the starting player token in a solo game, but let's put it there for fun. So we get 2 prestige. All right, that's nice. And what else? We are going to return 111 buried secrets back to the library, and then we get 218 from the library. And that's end of scene. It's a quest card. Buried Secrets Part 2. What you found in the ruins has nothing to do with ocelots, but with something much closer to home. There's someone in Rienstom who might know more. However, obtaining that information carries a heavy risk. We cannot abandon this quest, but if we go to Rienstom, we can seek for answers by taking the scene 88. And Rienstom is here the largest city on the game board. After my turn, it would be the next player's turn, and after all players have taken their turns, we simply move to the next day by moving the the day token on the calendar, like so, and the same in the storybook. We keep track of the month and day on the digital storybook because the same number in this list of stories can have different stuff happening in it, depending on which month and which day you're playing. So that's why we keep track of that. You can use as many devices as you want as book of stories if you want. Usually it's one player reading the story out loud, but if you want to follow along on your own device, you can do so. As long as you just keep the devices in sync with the month and day, or the stories and outcomes will be the same in that case. Michael asks, where would the next player turn start if you were not playing solo mode? Next player turn start. I'm not exactly sure what you are asking, but if we have multiple players, the player with the first starting player token starts the turn by taking their turn. Then it's the next player, and so on until everyone has taken their turns. Then we move to the next round, and the starting player token stays with the same player the whole game. So it just goes clockwise around the table all the time, and the token is merely a reminder on who starts a new day, so we know when to move to the next day on the calendar. So hopefully that answers your question. And now we get to the next day. It's a Sunday, and we have to choose what we want to do. So first of all, we have this purple token here, which is a reminder that one of the quests here on the notice board, which this place here is called. So you can, wherever around the game board, you will always have at least 3 quests private side facing up, and that's called notice board, and it has quests that you can go and pick up. And these quest tokens on the game board are a reminder on where you can pick up those quests. So this one over here, you can see at the top says Teshun. We arrive now at Teshun, so this quest token here corresponds to this quest. And this is the private side saying evil farmers are treating child workers badly. This must stop. Somebody help. Signed by Gyldia the long-tailed duck. And whenever we are at the place matching one of the cards in the notice board, and it's our turn and we are not in middle of a story scene, so basically during our travel phase or during after the story phase at the end of our turn, we can pick up quests. And picking up quests is not an action, you can just do it for free, so we can, why not, let's see what Gyldia has to say. It's a quest card named Growing Pains. I escaped from wicked maize farm owners. The food was bad and they beat us and we were held in chains. I was lucky to get away. The tale take me back to the farm if I speak to city guards. You must help me, free my friends and punish the evil farmers. Signed by Gyldia the long-tailed duck orphan. And now we can see here that if we go to one space south of Meratu, we can visit the farm by taking this story scene. The text down here is an abandoned text, so if we can only keep up to 3 quests in our possession, and if we ever have more, we are forced to abandon one of them or as many as it takes until we are left to 3. So then we just resolve whatever is said here. So if we ever abandon growing pains, we would place it on the notice board by flipping it over and placing it back there. But we do have room for 3, so let's put it over there. And when we have less than 3 cards quests on the notice board, we have this quest slot over here. We will take the first available one here without looking at the private side and place it on the notice board. And in this case, we check that it's where it can be resolved, and this one can be resolved in Meratu. So I'll update the quest token over there. So those are the new quests that we can go and pick up from the notice board. So now we have in our second turn, we have the travel phase, and on our travel phase, we may move up to 2 spaces. And these large named locations, even if they consist of multiple cards, they are considered as a single space. So from here we could move, for example, 1 and 2 if we want to go towards Rienstum, or if we were here, we could move 1 and 2 or stop at Rienstum, or not move none at all if we want. So we just have to follow these paths on the game board and move up to 2 spaces. So we can head towards Sarevar or Chabar to get new quests from there. We can head towards Rienstum if we want to continue our starting quests. If we want to resolve this growing pains, that's 1 space south of Meratu, so that would be over here. Here's Meratu, and we can see a compass over there to refer to the cardinal directions. Especially helpful if you're sitting at the side of the table or even upside down, so you can always see which direction is which. And on our way there, we could pick up some new quests from here or here if we then went to Prienstum, for example. Or we could stay at Teshun, and if we do so, we can optionally visit the ruins or the camp if we want. Well, basically, we just came from the ruins, but there's still, we can go there again if we want, but it's a little different scene this time because it's not a quest. So do you have suggestions where you want us to go next? I'd recommend either maybe going towards Meratu to pick up new quests and resolve the growing pains. We could go towards Rienstum for our own buried secrets quest, or towards Chabar if we want to go totally different direction to pick up a quest over there. The first person to say which direction we should go will be responsible for everything. Michael says these children at the farm needed our help, maybe. Well, that's solved. We're going there. So moving 1 and 2. And we do have full week still time to do stuff. So we can start here and then continue. From here we could move back to Rienstum and see where our own beginning quest leads us, or whatever we wish. And now after travel, it's again a story phase, and we have to take a single story scene. And we can take story scenes from our quest cards, as we have already done once. We can visit some places if we are in one of these named locations. And we can always draw an event card from the event deck. And in many instances, between these locations, like here, we have no option but to take an event card. So here we are going to draw the top one, and then by looking at it, we will pick the first scene from the top that matches our current situation. Is it Monday? It's not, it's Sunday. Are we in a settlement? That refers to terrain type, and we can see here that this terrain type here is a forest, which we can always, if there's any icons in the game that you can't quite remember, the rulebook has references for all the different iconography and the keywords here at the back for quick reference. Basically, almost always when you have a question, it can be resolved by just taking a look at the back of the rulebook. Like for example here, down here, we can see the various terrain types like grassland, forest, hill, etc. But the terrain type icon is also here, so we can see it. Forest, where we are currently, we have to take the scene 54. And for the duration of the scene, we are going to leave the event card on the table, as the storybook will always instruct where to put it afterwards. So forest was 54. Alright. Well, the scene immediately starts with a question. It's asking, does the library have 282 available? So I'm just going to look through if it's there, and I'm not going to take it or even look at it. I'm just speaking if the library has the card available, and it does have it available, so we're going to pick yes. On your way through the woods, you hear faint, desperate meowing. A short investigation reveals that the cries are coming from a copse of nearby trees. Trekking over, you see an orange cat yawning on a branch near eye level, but the sad meowing is coming somewhere above you, near the treetops. The orange tabby peers lazily at you under the brim of his hat, curious as to why you've disturbed his nap. Kenzie is at it again. Little Rotter loves to climb, coming down less so. I've tried to teach him, but you know kittens. The cat does an enormous, very satisfying looking stretch, ignoring the piteous mewing as the scratches behind his ear, and goes back to sleep. I'll owe you one if you get him down for me. And now we are asked if we have a toy tag. We went to rescue some other children and we found another kitten in peril on our way. So our items can have tags. Our toolbox has blade and tinkering. Fashionable tunic has fancy and warm. And also our own adventure board has some tags that can't be taken away from us. So we have explorer and scent right here in the middle. But we do not have a toy tag, so we are going to pick no here. We have three options. We can either climb the tree to rescue Kenzie, which is a hard survival. We can convince Kenzie to come down, which is hard communication. Our items, our fashionable tunic can help us convince. We can reroll up to 3 dice, but I'm not sure if that is nowhere enough to help us in hard communication skill check, because we have no we would just have to use 5 base skill dice, and well, we could reroll 3, but it's really hard to get successes with those dice. So I'd say that we climb the tree to rescue Kenzie or leave the scene, but I wouldn't recommend us trying to convince. And Scrum and Michael are agreeing that medium survival should be doable, and we are the type. We don't look like a communication type. Let's try climbing, and going to remove that thievery die. So while these are the skill marks that Boomir starts with, there are multiple ways for you to be able to shift those to different places on your adventure board. So while you're not able to add more there than 4, the initial 4, you are able to customize your adventure in any way you want to play them. So while Boomir starts with pretty much no communication skills whatsoever, you are able to change that if you want. So let's get climbing. And we would be looking at these tent icons and would like to get at least 2. And well, that's just 1. So let's try again. Alright, that's 2. So we can now be happy with just 2, or we can, if we want to get greedy, we can use our unyielding spirit to reset the skill check and roll, start it again, and get 1 to begin with. But is this the place where we want to use our unyielding spirit to rescue a kitten? I don't know. Are we happy with 2? Maybe there's it's always like maybe there's a more different or more dangerous spot where we can use it later. But maybe we should be just happy with 2 here. Michael saying more dangers ahead. Scrown agreeing. So, well, here we actually have 4 different options, but we got 2 right now, and so that's what we're going to go with. The mewing gets louder as you slowly ascend the tree, finally spotting a cream-colored kitten on a branch, making his dress audibly incredibly clear to you. Carrying down a kitten that small seems simple enough, but you find yourself assaulted by a tiny ball of claws and fangs as you take little Kenzie into your arms, clinging painfully to your chest. At least you have both hands free now. Back on the ground, Kenzie calms down and begins purring loudly once seeing his orange friend. Name's Eddie. While your technique could use a little bit of polish, you did rescue the little one. I'd be more than happy to join you, at least as long as you can keep this little beast entertained. So we get card 53 and card 282. And we're asked to return the drawn event card back to the bottom of the event deck. And that's the end of scene. Here's the card 53 is another adventure status, wounded from getting destroyed by a tiny kitten, injured and weary. You've seen better days. Best course of action would probably be to avoid physical strain or get taken care by a medical professional. So in thievery, might and survival skill checks we get 1 failure, and at the settlement and not in a scene we may spend 2 gold to hasten by 1. And yep, so that's a settlement. Meratu is not a settlement. Arhin is a settlement, so it's this house icon over there, and it's 1 failure for all the 3 skills that we are actually good at. So kind of good, kind of bad. And it has a timer here, 3. So let's mark that like so. So after let's make more room because we might need it like that. And the other card we got is a green one. It's a companion card. So it's Eddie and Kenzie. Tags adorable and night vision. A felin duo, Eddie clearly being the more collected one, while Kenzie is mostly interested in having plain old fun. And in perception skill checks we get 2 successes, and climbing we can reroll up to 2 dice and then delay by 2. Delay means that would move this timer token further into the future, so as long as we keep Kenzie entertained, we get to delay that one. So let's mark that's 4, so 3 and 4, like so. Scrum saying kitten claws are sharp, and Michael that Eddie has a nice hat. So that was end of day, so we're going to move to Monday, and same in the storybook. And I guess we were going towards here, towards a quest, but during travel we can move up to 2, 1 and 2, and even between steps we can pick up quests. So why not? We still have room for one more. We have room for 3 quests. So this is the one that we can pick from Merato. A criminal has avoided the law for too long. Contact us if you think you can finish the job. Signed by Forest Rangers. Sweet Relief, Part 1. A wanted polecat named Semran is hiding near Teshun. He's cunning but has a weakness, his love for delicacies. Share these honey pastries at the camp and I bet Semran's allies will contact you. Deliver him to the mercenary leaders, signed by Voghera, the Grey Wolf Forest Ranger Captain. And if we go to Teshun, well, back where we just came from, we can visit the camp and take the scene 292. We can stack the quests a little bit. Right, like so. And then we refill the notice board. Next one is at Arhin. So there's actually 2 quests over there to pick up. And then we can continue here and start resolving this one, the growing pains. And we can visit the farm by taking the scene 293. Um, 293. On your way to the farm, you are surprised to run into Guldia, the malnourished duckling who gave you this quest. There is no way I could stand by and not help. We have to go save the others. As you head to the farm, she tells you about the cruel acts performed by the married couple running the farm, Dihdor and Darivi, and how they get their most loyal farmhand, Old Norik, to beat and starve the kids that act out of line. You reach the farm as the sun starts to steer for the horizon. You can see the farmer's home next to the various barns and granaries, along with the stable the kids are being kept in. You could try to press with the farmers or go free the children. You have 2 options. I can either go to the farmer's house directly or head for the stables. Let's move. Even Eddie and Kenzie are not an item, so they're not in our inventory, but I'll keep them there at least as long as we get our third item. Let's see which option you would like us to pick. Michael says we are still not the talking type, so maybe stables. Let's try that. You get Guldia to take you through the fields surrounding the property, so you can get as close as possible to the stables without being seen. As you move through the area, an elderly, gangly stork steps out carrying a shovel. Old Norik, Guldia cries as she runs behind you, shaking. He works on the farm. He beats us when we misbehave. When he spots Guldia, the stork raises his shovel and looks like he's about to start swinging. Best you hand her over. Do we have a restless tag? We do not have a restless tag. We can watch for an opening to subdue Norik. We can fight Norik or bribe him by paying 6 gold. We have 10 gold currently. Fighting, subduing, watching. If we watch for an opening, Eddie and Kenzie will give us 2 successes right away. And if we fight, our wounded status will give us 1 failure. So fighting is kind of medium difficulty. So probably let Eddie and Kenzie watch for an opening for us, and then we can take the Old Norik. That's my recommendation, at least. based on our current situation. Scran is agreeing, so let's do that, and we get one of those. This might be a difficult one if we didn't have Eddie and Kenji with us, but we do, so we are already at 2. Well, it's a lot of books. We got 1, so we are currently at 3. 3 might be enough for the best possible outcome in with medium, not always. So we can push our luck if we want to, because, well, we still have the 2. We are not going to lose the 2 from Eddie and Kenji, so might want to be greedy here. Not sure if we want either keep it at 3 or reroll everything and hope for the best. Let's see what you would prefer. 1 seems like a good result. All right, let's stick with just the one we got, and it's not quite enough to get the best. In this case, we did get the middle one. Norik may be old and thin, but you see he is likewise sizing you. He spots his own opening to take you out, but you see he keeps off his right leg weak from some old injury. When he swings as you expected, you dodge and strike at his bad leg, which downs him with a howl of pain. My leg, you brute! The entire farm wakes up with the racket caused by Norik's screams of pain. Guldia grabs onto you. Come on, we have to move fast! You 2 bolt to the stables. You reach the grimy stables and peer through its barred windows with Guldia. You see a swarm of children sleeping on soiled straw with the farm animals. They start to wake, and soon the whole throng of them begin whispering at you to save them. The only door into the stables is sealed with a heavy padlock, other than a hatch on the roof. You hear shouts and footsteps drawing near. Seems Tihdor and Darivi have grown wise to you. You do not have much time. We can either unlock the stable or we can climb on top of the stable. Unlocking would let us use our toolbox to reroll 3 dice. Climbing would Eddie and Kenji would help us in climb with 2 rerolls, and they would also delay by 2 because, well, Kenji just loves to climb, even if it's a stable in this case instead of a 3. But climbing, well, either case, no matter which we pick, wounded will give us a single failure nonetheless, so the difficulty is kind of hard here instead of medium. Michael says climbing seems most fitting. Eddie and Kenji helped us beat old Norik. I bet they can help us climb on top of the stable too. So we're going to climb, and for that, let's remove that die and also 1 might die. And if we are failing here, we can use our unyielding spirit to basically offset, reset fully and offset the wounded status. So this might be the case where we need it. Let's see. Or we don't need it, because that's already 4 and -1, so we're at 3. And I'd say we're really happy with this result, and then just simply reroll the remaining 2 with Eddie and Kenji, because this might even get us through 2 or even 3 more. So let's go. I was sort of hoping to get to save myself from the bad rolling for once, but I think this is still nice. So Eddie and Kenji give 2 successes for perception, but they give 2 rerolls for climbing. So now we can like remove basically that, and we are at 3, and no matter what, we can delay Eddie and Kenzie by 2. So going here, this Eddie and Kenzie delay by 2. I'll just make one note. So I think we should be happy with 3 here instead of wasting our unyielding spirit, which might actually result in rolling worse. So I wouldn't like to see that happen. So let's be happy with almost missed. I think, not sure if we missed it in previous time as well, but fashionable tuning actually helps us climbing as well. So we still have a reroll of 3. So let's reroll these again. We got to reroll 3, but don't want to. 2 is enough. That's still not enough. We can't roll a third one because you have to do it like in a single roll. If it is written differently, if we can reroll a single die multiple times, but in this case we have to roll them simultaneously. All right, so we are at 3. It was requiring 5. Well, if we would get in this like this, we would have gotten 5, but we didn't get that. Oh, and also Spanson is saying that if we when we got the wounded, we should have rolled the d12. That's what happens when you try to consider too many things at once. So let's see if we actually would have even gotten the wounded, because from 6 to 12 we returned it to the library. So not quite 50, actually better chances. That's a 2, so we did get wounded. Our Phantom Tunic didn't protect us from Kenzie's sharp gloves after all. But it was a good effort. And now we are 2 and 4 over here. You climb atop the stable, throw open the bolt and start pulling up children through the hatch to the roof. In short order, you empty the stable of the youth and help them flee the farm. A group of loyal farmhands led by Theodore and Darivi arrive and capture you after all children escape. Furious, the farmers attach a ball and chain to you and promise you will work off the profits they just lost. They lock you in the stable and turn in for the night. Later, before the sun has a chance to rise, the children return and help you escape from the farm. Despite the shackles, this is a great victory. You feel so uplifted, having helped all the kids escape from this horrible place. Very fancy, not very protective. Yeah, so we get 2 prestige for our efforts. We return Growing Pains 146, the library. There we get 52, we get 60. And then there's some partner stuff. So in quest cards, let's show another one just returned. If they have this green handshake icon down here, if there's other players in the same space as you, one of them can be your partner and they can help you out in the scene by lending their possessions, gold and skill marks to you. But we didn't have a partner obviously in a solo play, so we can skip the partner stuff. And then it says that we have to take a card 104 and place it at the back of the quest slot. So this is a way to get new quests added here at the back. So like this. So we take new quests from the front and put new ones add new to the slot to the back. So we fill the notice board from the front and fill the quest slot to the back basically. And that's the end of scene. Moving to Tuesday. Well, let's not move Tuesday there quite yet because we got some cards. We got 52. Let's make more room for us, put our quests there, for example. So 52 is the ball and chain that got attached to our leg. In a famous court case, a fox avoided jail by arguing how lesser misconduct should mean lesser decrease in mobility. At a settlement and not in a scene, we may spend 5 to discard. And if we sneak, fight, climb, or run, we get 1 failure. So this is also a time to explain the slight difference between these so-called verb boxes. So on the right you can see the fashionable tunic has the climb and convince. It has the light brown verb box, and on ball and chain it's the dark purple one. The or light brown ones are optional. If we climb, we can use fashionable tunic. But on the ball and chain, if we climb, run, fight or sneak, we must use the ball and chain, so it hinders our ability to do any of those 4 actions. And it also has at the bottom, it has this arrow to the box and says discard. That means that when we end the game during saving, which happens always between games, we discard this. So we can either pay 5 to get rid of this or suffer the rest of the game with this and then get rid of it for free. So we're getting some negative stuff. We are wounded and we have ball and chain to our leg. But we did got 60 inner peace before saving the children. And now if we recall, convince, or observe, we get 1 success. But if we take part in any of those 3, thievery, might, or survival, we have to hasten by 1, which means that the token that we are going to place on this one, let's take some serene one, like a blue hair, and it was number 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we take part in any physical skill checks basically, or any of those, we get 1 failure for the wounded, and we also have to hasten this by 1, so this goes closer to the current day because we are not quite as peaceful by doing some of those actions. That's the tunic. And there's no limit on how many adventure statuses, so these yellow ones we can have. No limit on companions, just limit of 3 for the items in our inventory, and limit of 3 quests as well. And now we can move to the next day here as well, because we did the calendar stuff on the adding a new token for inner peace. All right. Last day for us before we heal from our wounded status. We can also spend 2 gold if we want to get rid of the wounded status for this day. If we go to a settlement, so if we go to Arhin, we can spend 2 to get rid of it immediately by seeing a medical doctor. And our quests are at Teshun and Rienstum. This is the sweet relief, where we can go and try to catch some wanted person, or we can continue with our own starting quest by going to Rienstum. If we want to go to Arhin, we can pick up new quests. There's 2, but we can only hold up to 3, so we would have to abandon 1 of them. If we go to Arhin, we could visit any of these places here if we wanted to. We could visit the market, the library, or the docks. So what should we do? If we want to move closer to Rienstone, we can move 1 and 2, and then next turn go there. If we go to Arhin, there might be a way to get there faster as well. But it's really up to you what you wish us to do. Michael saying Rienstone seems interesting to continue our own quest. Alright, let's go like that and draw an event card. And it's actually here you can see that asking first, is it Tuesday? And well, it is Tuesday. So we're going to take the scene number 119 as long as the scene has been created. Dang, unfortunately it hasn't been created yet. So going to have to take the next one on the list. We are in the forest, so 59. Welcome to the stream, Sir Tekos. Nice to see you again. We are playing Boomir, and we saved some children. We also saved a little kitten, but we got wounded by him scratching us, and we got a ball and chain from some farmers. But we also get inner peace by saving the children. And now we are heading towards continuing our own first starting quest. Scrown saying, "Dang, first time they saw the day match." Yeah, you might have to wait to be able to play the game yourself to see what happens there. But here our new scene, 59. Frigid flurries slip through the branches of the trees overhead as you struggle to stay warm. While heading down a dirty path in this winter-stricken forest, you spot a bright piece of colorful fabric on the branch of a bush, hollowed by tiny footsteps in the snow. We can either search the area, we can figure out what happened here, or we can ignore the torn fabric. If we search, each scent tag gives us 1 success, and Boomir has actually scent on his adventure board because we have a great sense of smell. And it's a perception skill check, which means that Eddie and Kenji would give us 2 successes, so even before rolling we would be at 3. Wounded wouldn't hurt us, and inner peace wouldn't get hastened. So basically currently we would like to resolve the 3 skill checks on the lower left half of the skill wheel. Basically everything we are bad at, if we want to avoid wounded hurting us and if we want to avoid hastening our inner peace. And inner peace helps with recalling, convincing, and observing. For searching, we have the 3, 1 from Scent, 2 from Eddie and Kenji, and for figuring out we have nothing but 2 our yellow dice. So I think it's quite clear that we are going to search the area. Scrown agrees. And as for that, we are not going to use those. We're going to use the pink and 2 base ones. And we're already at 3. That's nothing. No one says anything about my dice rolling. Let's reroll. No one says anything about my dice rolling. I got 3. And 3 plus the 3 we already had. We are at 6. So that should be enough to find whatever we are looking for. 4 would have been enough here. Scanning the area, you spot tracks. Following them, you are led to a cottage on stilts with the tracks going under the building. Dropping to all fours, you see a young frog curled up and feebly calling for help. Her dress matches the piece of fabric you found. You help her out of the hole and carry her back to the main road. She thanks you but can barely say more, as is at risk of going into forced hibernation from the cold. Waiting at the main road is a family of frogs on a wagon who are calling out for her. They are relieved to find you, and after giving you a quick reward, race off to town to find a doctor. You are confident she will make it and continue on your journey. Easy rolls first try. We got 1 prestige. Like so. We get 47. Our quick reward from the parents, and then we are going to return the drawn event card to the bottom of the deck. And end of scene. And what we got as a reward is a broom, sweeping pole. A tidy home is a source of pride for mongooses. Many other folks end up delaying cleaning as much as possible, often finding long lost items in the process. This will help us search, fight, and explore. Nice. And we have room for 1 more item, and at the end of turn we are going to discard the wounded, so we get more room, like so. Let's remove that. 53. And now we can move to the next day on the board and on the storybook. And I believe we are now going to go to Rienstum. So now we can continue our starting quest, Buried Secrets. To remind you, we found an emblem. Well, let's see just the story here. What you found in the ruins has nothing to do with ocelots, but with something much closer to home. So it was an emblem of sorts. There's someone in Rienstum who might know more. However, obtaining that information carries a heavy risk. And now we can seek answers by taking the scene 88. We can also visit some places in Rienstum before or after, even like on a next turn if we want. So here's the places in Rienstum. There's Wishing Well, Docks, Arena, Market, Convention Center, and Casino. So we could visit one of those places, or we can do our quest. Michael says that we are becoming quite proficient searchers. Yeah, we have our broom and Eddie and Kenzie. We don't need any skill marks. We can do it without them. If we can get to, so this is the end of game, and this is Eddie and Kenzie. So if we can climb at least once still in the game, we can move this to the next week, and which means that we would get to save Eddie and Kenzie for our next game. Thanks for joining, Scrum. It was nice to have you here, and hope to see you in some future stream as well. Bye. So, what do you say? Should we continue our quest, or do you want to visit some of the places in Rienstum, like Wishing Well, Docks, Arena, Market, Convention Center, or Casino? Michael says maybe take a stroll on the market. Alright, so let's visit the market, and maybe then we'll do our quest that we have. So for the market it's number 24. Rienstum's market district is both impressive and infamous, but right now it's overwhelmingly busy. It is said that for the right price one can find anything here. What are you hoping to find? Weapons and camping equipment, books and apparel, or miscellaneous gadgets? what do we want to look for? And currently there's not super much variety in the location scenes. Like if you come here again tomorrow, it will have mostly the same stuff happening. But these, especially the locations on the game board, is one of the places where we will be adding a lot of new stuff happening depending on which month and which day you are playing. So that's just currently in the current prototype. It's we have not been able to add different stuff for different days, but in the final game, depending on when you go to the market, there may be some discounts, there may be some special offers and stuff like that. Michael says gadgets, of course. All manners of gizmos and gadgets can be found at the market's teaming stalls. You take a look in case there's something interesting. And here's also where I can explain why different effects in the storybook are written, sometimes with a turquoise background and sometimes not. When it's in the turquoise background, this person reading the story does not have to read those parts out loud. They just have to be resolved. So it's more streamlined for the player in turn when the person reading doesn't say that I'm now taking the card 201 and 3 random 200. They can just read the text in their head and resolve it and then continue reading. Once again, it's not a secret bubble, so to speak. So let's take the card 201 over there and a pile of 200s, going to give them a quick shuffle and take three at random. And now we would read out loud to the active player that you may purchase any number of these items by paying its value. You may also sell your items for half of their value rounded up. And we have toolbox, fashionable tunic and broom, so we can sell any of those if we wish. And also, if we want to get rid of our ball and chain before the end of game, we may spend 5 in a settlement to get rid of that. So what do we have? What options do we have? For 3 gold, we can purchase this assorted gear, and when purchased, we may discard this assorted gear immediately, or we have to discard it immediately to swap one of our skill marks for either perception or thievery. So if we purchase this, we can move our skill marks to either that or that, the dark purple or the pink. So we could move, for example, one survival or the might to there if we want to specialize in perception or thievery. That would cost 3 gold. For 5 gold, we could purchase a feather duster, which would help in searching if we want to get even better at that. And in fighting, we would convert up to 2 thievery into 1 success each, so we can tickle our opponents if we want. For 7 gold, we could purchase a periscope, which would help us in sneaking and observing. And for 5 gold, we could purchase glasses, which would also help in search and convince. So what do you say? Should we sell something to purchase some of these items? Like, for example, for the tunic is handy for the avoiding the wounded status, but the convince reroll is not very useful as long as we don't have any good dice to reroll. So if we want convince items, auto success, like for example this one here, 1 success immediately, would be more useful convince item for us in this situation. Rerolls are really powerful if you have good dice to reroll, but these immediate successes are helpful if you want to help cover your stuff that you're not quite as good at. Michael saying the tickle feathers seems useful, and maybe we can also sell the tunic. So let's we can purchase the feather duster and sell the tunic. And that tunic will give us 3 gold, and the feather duster costs 5, so we are only losing 2 gold to do that. So we would be now down to 8. And do we want to move any of our skill marks to the other ones by paying 3? Shortekos agrees. And could we get glasses and duster to be super searchers? Yeah, we can do that. Our broom helps us also in search, so if we want to be really good searchers, maybe we sell our toolbox to get the glasses. So the toolbox costs value is 6, so we get 3. Glasses cost 5, so we lose 2 gold to do so. So that would put us down to 6. Do we want to do anything with the periscope, or do we want to change any of our skill marks with the assorted gear? Vaihtasin Boomer Holmes. Returning that. Because if we want to get even better at searching, we could move one of our skill marks to perception to be even better. Like right now, if we ever search, we get 3 successes from our items, and we get 2 from Eddie and Kenji as long as they are with us. So that's 5 successes, and we get to reroll up to 3 dice. Because glasses, feather duster, and broom all give 1 reroll for searching. So I guess if we ever get to search, we always pick that with this combo of items. Yeah, Michael says now we just need something to search for. We probably don't want perception skill marks because we are already so good at it with just these items. So let's return the rest, and doesn't hurt to have some gold, pocket left. Alright, so now we return the items we sold and those we did not purchase to the library. And that's the end of scene. Moving to Thursday. Same here. The next one would be our inner piece. We would discard that one. So right now we're probably going to continue our quest. So yeah, Michael says you never know when you might want to bribe someone. So you can seek answers. Well, seeking answers might involve searching. So scene 88. You stand in front of a most ordinary door in the west side of Rienstum. It is wooden and plain like the entire neighborhood, and you feel yourself hesitate. You look at the stone pendant again. There's something inside you must confirm, but there's something else as well. Your family. Your tiresome family stuck in their ways as they are, trudging on in some ways in the same place. They lived here when you were born, when you left, and still now, unchanging, unchallenged. You visited a few times, always a stressful affair, but it's been a while. As you reach for the door, you feel more uneasy than ever, and not all of it stems from the impending meeting, although perhaps the latter inconvenience could still be avoided. Should we sneak inside or treat our family? If we choose to sneak, our inner piece would get removed immediately. Sneaking. Ball and chain gives us 1 failure for sneaking. It's a little bit harder to sneak anywhere without ball and chain. What else do we have? Eddie and Genji doesn't help us. Our unyielding Spirit doesn't help us. Our items don't help us in greeting or sneaking. Should we just greet our family? Michael says, whoa, sneaking into our family home with ball and chain. Yeah, it would be a hard skill check because our ball and chain. So should we try sneaking or greeting? We are still not the communicating type, but at least it's an easy one. And what's the worst that could happen? If we sneak, we are going to use these ones. And if we greet, we are going to use those ones. Maybe we greet so we don't immediately discard inner piece, because we might still use it in this. Even it gets discarded after this day, but maybe the second problem might be recalling, convincing, or observing. You never know. Michael says, "What's the worst that could happen?" Indeed. All right, let's greet our family, and with just 5 base skill dice. That's one. That's one. I think we are happy with one. Boomer is not the talkative type. We haven't made improved on that aspect, so maybe we're just great at one. It's not too bad in this case. No way we would have gotten 3. Bravely, you head inside and face your family, their exuberant antics and inquiries and all. It goes surprisingly well, all things considered. You managed to avoid rolling your eyes too much or insulting anyone, all in the name of getting out faster. Among the social kerfuffle, you check out your objective, the old family heirloom, a stone pendant you always thought was a useless trinket. You compare it to the one you found and confirm your suspicion. They are identical, but why was one in the shoe? There's someone who might know. There's a typo, I'll just mark it up so I'll fix it later. Right. You find your great aunt, Avira, sitting by her lonesome in a nearby park, just like you remember. She's your oldest living relative, likely one of the eldest folks in the whole city. If someone would know, it'd be her. Teshun, you say? She drawls, leaning back. Our family lived there back in the day. Ah, you figure they've always been in Rienstorm. It was before the wars, cowardly Sarvarians. Did you know they used to wear their coats inside out? Right, you always had a tough time with her rambling. Should we help her recall or sit down and listen? If we help her recall, our inner piece would give us a single success. And yeah, I think that would be it. It would be one success, and we would get 2 survival dice to help us. And if we sit down and listen, there's no skill check involved. So what do you say? Should we help her recall or simply sit down and listen? Michael says those are tough options. If we sit down, if we help her recall, it would be not those 2, but these 2. Those would be our dice. Yeah, Michael says that we help 1 auto success and 2 yellow skills might help, so let's help her the best of our ability. That's 1, so we're at 2, and not super easy to get much more than this. Sir Tekos says also success to her help her recall. So we're doing that. So 2 and 3. With care, you successfully guide her back to the topic whenever she strays from course. Few remember now, but we built most of those tunnels. Are they still there? Great for hiding the treasures we found. Not to forget the smuggling, but that's a secret. You listen eyes wide open as she recounts your family's old exploits. That same family you considered the boringest of the boring did things like that. All of a sudden, you realize what's been nagging you since you arrived. I know that look, Bumir, she says, voice filled with affection. You feel lost, something bothering you. Take my advice, head to Yetsten. Meet the wise polecat who lives atop a mountain. Which reminds me, she gets lost on another tangent, but you can't stop thinking about what she said. Perhaps you should look for that polecat. I'll just make another note. This scene hasn't been proofread quite yet, so it has some typos. Like that. Alright. Michael says, did someone say treasure? We got 2 prestige for being able to withstand our family. We returned buried secrets 218 back to the library. And we get 2 from the library. And possible partner would get 2 prestige, and that's it. We got Buried Secrets Part 3. The pendant you unearthed brought to light things you had never imagined, and don't know what to think of. As your great aunt said, you should head to Yetsten and look for the wise polecat atop a mountain. And at Yetsten we can now visit the temple. Going move to Friday, our inner peace gets returned. Like so. And moving to Friday here as well. So this is the last day. No, this is second to last day. So this is the last day Eddie and Kenzie is with us, but second to last day of the game. So this is for Eddie and Kenzie here, and this on the Sunday is for the harmony card over here. Michael says our toughest challenge thus far, listening to Grandma. Oh wow, listening to Grandma. Inner peace is gone. That's Boomer for you. If we want to do the Buried Secrets Part 3, we still have time with 2 days to go Yetsten. Or if we want to do the Sweet Relief, we have time to return to Teshun also. So, or we can stay in Rienstum or go to Arhin, or pretty much whatever we wish or want to do. Prime says, can we go to Southern City to pick up 2 quests before the sale? Yep, we can also move here to Arhin to pick up some quests, but we can also only keep 3 quests in our possession when we save. So we would have, if we pick both of these, we would have to abandon immediately one that we are keeping. And something to note is that during setup, so we get to choose where we start the game. So if we now, for example, go to Yetsten and do this quest, for example, in the next game we could start immediately from Arhin and pick up both of these if we wanted. So you can kind of like teleport to a different place at the start of the game, because thematically there's always time between games. So when you end the game and when you start the next one, there's some week or 2 passing by between that, and you can choose where you have moved between that time. Of course, assuming that these two are here, but if Bumir is going to play in the very next game, they are here because everything is saved between sessions, including the notice board. So if no other player takes these, they will be there. But of course, if another player would start the game as a starting player, they could start here before us to pick up the quests. But the notice board is filled. You can pick up these during setup, and so if the other player picks both of these, we draw 2 new cards from the field notice board immediately back up to 3. And let's say that the new ones are here. You can then choose to start from Mera to Hesembi or Chabar if you want to pick up new quests. So there's always 3 quests to pick up during setup when you choose where you want to begin your game. Brian says, so the quests don't get reset between plays. That's correct. So you save your stuff, all of this here goes to your save slot, and you will continue with everything you had, well, except for the ball and chain, because it has a save effect. So this is a save icon, the arrow to the box, and discard. So during save we get rid of our ball and chain, but everything else that doesn't have any save effects we get to keep for the next game. And everything here on the game board, so let's say that Teshun cards get swapped or something like that, notice board's contents get changed, anything, all of this gets saved to the global save slot, so the world will also continue exactly where it was left off in the previous game. So in the light of that, would you like to see the third part of Bumir's beginning quest, or do something else? And now, even if we find a place for Eddie and Kenzie to climb one more time on this very turn, we would get to delay this by 2 Eddie and Kenzie's timer token, which would mean that we would also get to save them for the next game. But if we don't find anything to delay them, they would get returned back to the library. Michael says very much in favor of treasure, and Brian agrees. So let's move forward like that and take an event and a mountain. So at the top it's asking if it's Sunday. It's not, so we move down to the mountain, which is 116 in this case. Let's see if that is actually written or not. This is some prototype card. Yeah, 116 is not created yet, so let's draw another one. So it's asking if we are shocked. We are not shocked, so we are going to move down to mountain 241. 241. Of course, I'm now drawing all the cards that are not done. This is Monday, and that's also a special card, I believe. So this is 209. We will find a scene that this has been written. Alright. Hiking along a mountain road, tiny pebbles and dust slide from the higher peaks around you as the ground shivers with a distant groan. Should you pay it no heed and keep going, or take a moment and reflect on your surroundings? We can either recall our knowledge about tremors, and because we actually are an explorer, as said on our adventure board, we would get 1 success immediately for that. But we would still have to get at least 2 to succeed in the recalling. Or we can observe our surroundings or continue without stopping. Observing. Well, Eddie and Kenzie would give us 2 successes for that. So that's nice. Otherwise we are up for dice. So assuming you want to observe our surroundings, we would use those dice if we observe. We don't get the bonus from our Explorer tag, but we get even greater bonus from Eddie and Kenzie. So probably a smart decision to observe. Michael says, sure, let's have a look. So we are already at 2. Certecos agrees, and we just see if we get any more. You saw nothing. I'm just going to reroll, not say anything. Because this is the roll we were looking for. That's 2 successes, so we're at 4 total. Ah, come on, when I roll good, it's not even that's not enough. Unfair. Who designed this game? Scoping out the terrain around you, it seems nothing is ready to let go until you see a boulder start to tilt from its perch. It is threatening to topple onto the road right where a caravan of lemurs is. In a frenzy of shouts and waving gestures, you run at the lemurs. At first, I think you are deranged, but heed your warning as you get closer and scatter just in time to dodge the falling boulder that crushes their wagon. The lemurs thank you and sing you praises for saving them, but you are distracted thinking about how another boulder could smash you to paste before you get out of these mountains. 1 prestige. Done. And 57. 57 is yet another adventure status. We are finding a lot of statuses in this game. We got afraid by almost getting hit to a and made into a paste. We cannot choose hard skill checks if we have other options available to us. And when pained, we hasten 1 for each companion we have. So Eddie and Kenzie make us a little bit less afraid. Let's mark our... They comfort us just a little bit before leaving. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes 1 here. Let's move the game board like that so you can see it better. Sad panda over there. We also take 176, and we're asked to roll the 12-sided die. And with 10, we place the card to Hesembi. Not that we're going to be able to do it, but AwSHUX, an earthquake has destroyed several buildings. Folks are clearing the rubble and seeking for survivors. We can, if we ever go to Hesembi, we can visit the ruins. This is a new card type we haven't seen yet in this game, so it's a local status, and the effect always tells where we put it, and you can see that the corner has a tiny little arrow, kinda, so we put this in a way that points to the place it gets placed to, so it gets placed to Hesembi. I put it here so we can see it. So there's some aftershocks. Tremors destroyed some buildings in Hesembi, but we're in the very other side of the game board. We're not making it there in this game. It has a timer of 5, doesn't really matter, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's put it there anyway. Like so. And we are then asked to return the drone event back to the bottom of the event deck like that. And that's the end of scene. Moving to Saturday. Same here. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a new place for Eddie and Kenji to climb, so they will leave our side now. They did help us quite a lot on our journey. And then I think we are going to move to Yetsten, and we are not going to visit these places here, but I'll show it anyway. There are temples, gardens, and the market in here. So Yetsten is kind of city built into carved into a mountain, and for that there's also the game also comes with this so-called travel guide that you can read to get more information about different places. Like there's something about Yetsten. A town inside a mountain is a place where lifestyles of serene spirituality and earthen ambitions collide in a peculiar way, and so forth. But I'll let you discover this on your own later when you get the game. But basically more theme and more flavor to get even better immersed and learn about the different places on the map even before playing for the first time. And maybe if it's not your turn, you might want to take a look at that or something like that. But now we are going to take the scene from the Buried Secrets Part 3 and visit the temple scene 92. 92. You strain your neck looking up towards the peak Avira talked about now in front of you. It's not that high, there's taller peaks in Yetsten alone, but the sleek and very steep cliff is definitely an imposing example of Galzyr's landscape. Looking at it, your thoughts drift back to the question gnawing at the back of your mind. Did you do the right thing leaving this place behind? Perhaps the answer waits at the top. You take another step forward. Stop right there! You look at your left and watch as an old marmot rushes rather slowly to block your way. You wait patiently as he pants in exertion and adjusts his trousers over his round midsection before continuing. I saw that look of yours. This sacred peak belongs to marmots like me, not to likes of you. This is as certain as I am the famous Hugh. Be gone, upstart! He brandishes a staff at you. Famous? You don't think you've ever heard of him. But he is another pain in the neck for sure. Do we fight the marmot or convince the marmot to stand down? Let's see what we have. Fighting. Our ball and chain will give us a disadvantage, so we would be gaining one failure from that. Onion Spirit can be used for fighting. We can use the Broom for fighting to reroll one die, so not much, but a little bit. And our Feather Duster can help us convert 2 Thievery into success in might skill checks. So we can tickle him to death. Michael says yes, we can fight him with our feathers. Let's fight him with our new Feather Duster. This one, those. So we're going to use all our skill marks in this one. So we are looking at Thievery and Might. We got one of both. So I'm not sure, we might want to reroll. So both of these would be success. Ball and chain gives us one failure, and Broom gives us a single die reroll. So we would keep these and reroll one of these, which would be probably this one, because it has 2 double sides for might, and it also has 2 single sides for thievery. So it's really highly likely to get successes with that. Or we can roll everything again. I might prefer rolling everything again before using the Broom single reroll. And we can also use our Unyielding Spirit if the marmot is too much for us to handle. Sure, Tekas is saying Pumir fight, of course. Should we just reroll everything? I probably am leaning slightly towards rerolling everything. Michael says all or nothing. Sure. That's kinda in a similar situation. 2 is not enough, but now we are going to use Broom's ability to reroll 1, and I think we are going to reroll this one, because if we get the double here, both of these count as success, or if we get a single sword, that's also a success, which either of those would be enough to get 3, -1 would be 2. Alright, that's 2. So now we are 4, -1 from our ball and chain, so we're at 3, and I think we should be happy with that. 2 to 3. You engage the marmot, trading a blow for blow. He's stout but puts a good fight, standing between you and your goals, but eventually you tire him out and he falls to the ground panting heavily. No, stop! He shouts from below as you move past him, exasperation evident in his voice. I'm the most... I mean the sanctity. Hey, come back here. You walk forward. That poor thing. Finally done with the marmot, you turn back to the cliff. And the cliff ahead of you. It wouldn't be an easy ascent by any means. Perhaps the hardest you've done so far. Something in the marmot's words and demeanor makes you wonder, however, if there's another way to the top. Michael says, for a wounded, angsty ferret fighting with ball and chain and feathers, you're doing quite alright. That's correct. And we're even shivering. So, our afraid status would stop us from picking hard skill checks if we have any other option. But we are afraid and trembling, but because we have only hard options, we can pick one of them. So we can either climb the cliff or observe the mountain. Let's see, for climbing we can use our unyielding spirit if we fail, but ball and chain, again, it's a pain. It gives us 1 failure, so it's kinda, we don't need 3 to succeed, we need 4 to succeed. Our items don't help in either of those. They don't help with observing. We were so hopeful to search something because we have so much search stuff, but they don't help in climbing or observing. We just have a lot better dice for climbing, even if we get 1 failure from ball and chain. So Michael says we should have removed the ball and chain in the city. Yeah, we could have even removed it here in Jetsten, but we can't do it in the middle of scene when we are not able to go to the cards and say, oh, we pay, just take it off. We can do it only before or after a story scene. So while climbing is even harder, I think we are better trying to do that with our skill dice and with our special ability, which we have saved for the last skill check. if at least this is the last day. Probably the last skill check. So let's. I say we try to climb the cliff. like all these things hindering us, Pumir will still fight through. This is nothing compared to seeing our family. And that's already 4. So 4 minus 1 is 3. Are we happy with 3? It's good with these dice. We could use our special ability to reset I was kinda hoping to fail just to use the special ability, but I don't think it's worth to use it here right now, because we might roll worse and then be left with, well, less successes and failing. So probably happy with the 3 we are at right now, with 4 from the dice, -1 from ball and chain. Michael says better than anticipated. What? Do you put that little trust in my dice rolling? So do I. Oh, it was 4. So without ball and chain, we would have gotten the best outcome. But oh well. Stupid ball and chain. But because we didn't remove the ball and chain, we saved, was it 5? Yeah, we saved 5 gold for the next game, so it could also be a smart way to not get rid of it. Welcome to the stream, Sulla Felix. Can't wait to get my hands on this game, seems so immersive. That's what we are going for, and even I know the stories and stuff that can happen, but I can't help myself but get immersed for the whole duration of the stream. The climb is long and difficult, testing the skill and character you build up during your travels all over the world. Slippery stones and unsteady footholds try to impede your ascent, but you persevere and finally reach the top. The peak, however, is completely empty. The only thing welcoming you is chilly winds howling, breezing among the desolate stones. You stand there among the rocks and think. You don't see any wise polecats around. There's no one up here but you, left with the thoughts about your life, your adventures, and your family. You pull out the pendant again and look at the imaginary depicted there, not unlike the one you're seeing before you. You turn it over in your hands, your polecat hands, and chuckle as you come to a realization and a decision. Should we rush back or sit down and enjoy the view? Probably the last decision to be made in this stream. Michael says, enjoy the view. You sit down and enjoy the view that opens from the mountaintop. Whether you did the right thing or not isn't relevant now. What matters is that you're here now, and Galzyr has never looked this alluring before. The feeling is serene. You've chosen your path, and you will see it through to the end. There's always new adventures to be had, new heights to reach, even here in Galzyr, or perhaps especially here. You'll find it out. That shall be your legacy. I think that's quite fitting ending for our game. 2 prestige, going up to 10. We are going to return 2 to the library and gain 60, which is our good old inner peace. And no partner, so going to end the scene. Moving to Sunday, same here, and we're going to really end the game with taking the scene number 200, the Gathering. After all the excitement, challenges, and adventure, it is time to unwind for a moment and reflect on your travels. There were 1 adventure, and we are not isolated. You head to the nearest inn, intent on treating yourself to a well-deserved evening, celebrating this leg of your journey. Already from the outside, you can hear the sounds of lively patrons suggesting that the establishment is quite full once again. Despite the noise, all heads turn as you enter, curious to see the new arrival. Do we spend 5 gold of our 6 to throw a party that we saved by not getting rid of our ball and chain? Or should we celebrate alone? Actually, this is the last decision to be made. After spending a nice evening at the top of the mountain. Maybe because we are not going to, even when I stream next time, we are not going to continue from this exact moment step, but if you would continue with Bumir, you would lose the 5 gold and start the next one with just 1 gold. Michael says ball and chain party. Let's go down to 1 gold. Quite fitting as well. Well, we don't need gold. How much prestige did we got? Exactly 10. And if we were to get more, you can always turn the token other way around to show plus 10. The inn explodes into cheers as everyone is struck and beyond themselves. Not many are graced by someone so famous as you. You buy drinks for all your fans and kick off the party. Word spread through the region about your party and hundreds joined the celebration, growing it to a legendary size. You have become a component of culture itself, as recognizable as any landmark. The party lasts till noon the next day, with a huge mess left behind from the revelers. You help the innkeeper clean up, who tells you to help yourself to anything left over. We could now swap one of our skill marks, so this was here, or any other skill mark from here. But as we are not going to continue this exact game, doesn't really matter what we change. But for example, if we wanted to get more social, we could swap one for a communication skill die or whatever we wanted in this case. So it's another example where you get to customize your character to be what kind of character you want them to be. We are legendary. So that was our Bumir's first leg of their journey, already a living legend. So that ends our demo. And lastly, I want just a quick instruction or like introduction of how the game saves itself. So now we would do all the save effects on different components, like ball and chain here gets discarded because this is the save icon, this arrow to the box. So we get rid of that. Our other cards, Afraid, has also a save effect here, so it will get discarded either in the save or after 4 days. So get rid of that. AwSHUX gets discarded similarly. And the final save, the second to final save effect here is replace the January card with card number 2 from the library. So that would be replaced by February. So next game would be February. And you can also see that in the save of February something new would happen. Card would be shuffled into event deck. No idea what that could be. And the very final save effect currently is on our adventure board here. You would take the card number 0 from the library, which is our own special ability that we saved for the very last moment and didn't need to use. So we would get this back for the next game. And now we would save all our stuff here, would get saved to our own save slot, including our quest, and everything here on the game board, the notice board, and also the event deck, because various effects will put new cards and remove some cards from here. So this is also some sort of memory for the game. So all of these would get placed to a global save slot. So the next game would continue from where this one was left off. And maybe a new character, you have a friend coming over and they haven't played yet. You can continue your journey as Bumir, and maybe they play as AwSHUX, and then they will they would take all the cards from AwSHUX's save slot, starting AwSHUX's own journey. And maybe they can't join the next time, but you don't play the next time, and someone plays with more than AwSHUX, and maybe even carried a 3-player game. But your stuff here will wait for you to come back on your very own save slot. So the game is really easy to get on the table, as you can play it solo, 2, 3 or 4 players, competitively, cooperatively, and not all same players have to be in each game, because their own save slot will always wait for them in the box. Michael says, awesome demo. This was a great fun and very interactive. Thanks for hosting. Well, thanks for joining. Same for Sulla. Thanks for joining. It was a pleasure. And I think that is a wrap for both our AwSHUX coverage and for this demo of Lands of Galzyr. There's even more streams and videos available in the channel. You can find links in the description for our homepage, and also obviously you can just browse YouTube to see our other videos for Lands of Galzyr. There's also a playlist which should have all the different streams. Some of them also have guests, so I'm not playing just along with chat, but there's also fun videos with guests from different like Surtekos is one of them currently here in the chat. But that's it, and I hope you have a great end of the weekend and so forth. Thanks and bye.